Okay, good afternoon, everyone. How are you today?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
This is our fourth meeting in cross-cultural understanding class, and we were still talking about verbal and non-verbal communication. And this afternoon guest speaker is Troy. Okay, Troy, can you introduce yourself first, please?
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Troy. Troy MCK, Troy Mack. I'm from Zimbabwe, half Zimbabwean, half South African. But I denounced my South African citizenship when I turned 18. I'm studying international economics and trade in China, Shenyang University of Technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roy. Troy, sorry. Troy, okay. Troy, with T, Troy, not Troy, okay. Okay. I we will discuss about verbal and non-verbal communication, and I will show you the comparison, the comparison between verbal and non-verbal communication between US and UK, and then you can compare it with verbal and non-verbal communication in your
Country.
own country, yes, in Africa, and in the country where you are living now, yeah.
Okay.
But okay, wait, I will share my screen. Okay, I think you can see my screen now. Okay, Troy, this is verbal and non-verbal communication in US and UK. I have summarized it from two books, from Levin and Alderman 1982 and from Alton and Bennett 2011. Okay, so most Americans see themselves as open, frank, fairly friendly, and they have nothing to hide to others. Meanwhile, British are quite private and only talk about superficial details about personal life. How about the people in your country? Okay, in Zimbabwe and South Africa. Okay, but before that, how long did you live in Zimbabwe and South Africa, Troy? If you don't mind, you
Okay.
can share a little about this.
All right. Okay. I lived in Zimbabwe for about 4 years. 4 years, and then my parents moved to South Africa, and I've been in South Africa for my whole life now, for my whole life. But then every holiday we would be in Zimbabwe. Every single holiday we would go to Zimbabwe and be there. So yeah, that is how it's been. That is how it's been. So if we go back into what we're talking about how the nonverbal communication between South Africa, Zimbabwe, and China, actually I've realized that South Africa and Zimbabwe are quite similar to the American way. They're very friendly, very welcoming. And then if we look at here in China, they're a bit the older people are a bit more reserved. They kind of like avoid confrontations compared to the young generation, which they are very open and also friendly. But the older people here are a bit they're conserved and they kind of avoid confrontation with all of us. Yeah.
Okay, now let's move to, this is the varieties of introduction in US and UK. The first situation is for formal situation, yeah. For formal situation, they will call professor or Mr. or doctor. But in informal situation, in the second situation, they will call their opposite speaker or the opponent, the opponent speaker with by their name only. Okay, how about in in Africa and in China?
All right. It's the same way. In my country, in Africa, they address you with your surname. It's so it's like Mr. Here,
Yeah, we can continue. Okay.
here it's with the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, okay. Although Americans and British tend to use informal language, there are situations where formal introductions are appropriate. For example, when meeting a president of a university, it is advisable to say, "How do you do?" or then say, "How you doing?" Okay. In the first introduction, the speaker use longer sentences, titles like Dr. Mister. Yeah, just like what I said before. Yeah. Okay. And direct eye contact and firm handshakes during introductions are customary in the United States. For small talk after introduction, it is uncommon and considered impolite to ask personal questions like how much money do you make and how old are you and also are you married? Okay, how about in your country, Troy?
Okay. All right. In my country, or how much do you make is also considered a bit rude. But direct eye contact is actually advisable. It shows respect from where I'm from. But I've heard that in other countries, direct eye contact can be seen as disrespect. Here, in terms of small talk, they are not really all that. Like, it's not a necessity. It's not necessary because I've walked in some places and I'm like, oh, since back home, I have to greet and say hello and like have a little, like we chat a little bit. It's kind of different. It's kind of different once I got here because here it's like they kind of avoid that ongoing conversation, long conversation, or you need to get to the point. You just get in and say what you need to say and then leave. So the different cultural backgrounds is really challenging, but you just have to be open to it and accept it as it is.
Okay. Do people in Zimbabwe and South Africa speak the same language?
Uh, they're quite similar. Ndebele is similar to Zulu.
Oh, Swahili. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then Shona has a bit of like similarities to Venda. So it's quite similar here and there. And then both countries have Xhosas and, you know, other, so they're quite similar and some are different. Like the Afrikaans language is on its own.
And what is your native language? Swahili?
Oh, my native language. Okay. I speak Shona. I speak Shona. Yeah. But I understand everything else, like Ndebele, Zulu, Xhosa, all of that. Yeah.
So, and how about the formal language? The formal language in Zimbabwe and South Africa. I mean, the nation.
Oh, it's English. It's
English.
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 Each other in English, yes.
Okay, so people there have to understand English, have to speak English. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue with verbal communication in US. Okay, US people say thank you frequently. This expression is used as polite response to different kinds of favors and compliments. For example, thanks for calling to someone on the phone, or thank you to a teller in a bank, also in a cashier. And then American English strongly emphasize directness in verbal interaction. So many expressions exemplify this tendency and don't beat around the bush. Let's get down to business and get to the point, or indicate impatient with avoiding issues. Meanwhile, I think British people like to use vague language and they don't tell directly what what the intention. Yeah, the intention they want to say. For example, if you want to give negative comment for the British people, they have to precede it with the positive comments first. Okay, so it is the opposite, yeah, from verbal communication in US and British. How about in your country, Troy?
Okay. In Zimbabwe and South Africa, it's just like the United States people. Being thankful means that you are like cultured. We look at it as like a cultural momentum that, you know, oh, thanks for calling. It shows that someone actually has respect of you and of your time. And then compared to being here, like I did say that being here in China, it's a bit more confusing because these small tendencies are not really that important. You could like either you say it or you don't, and majority of the time they just don't. And sometimes like you could like maybe a Chinese person has helped you and you're like, oh, thank you. They'll give you like a shrug. I don't know, like it's some sort of like not in a nice way, like okay, like get over it and like let's just continue what I was doing. So it's a bit confusing for both. But what I'm realizing now is the US people are more like connected to the African ways compared to being here, where it's a bit more of like the European version, where uh the they emphasize everything with directness in verbal interaction. Yeah.
Okay. And then for nonverbal communication in US, and gesture like waving hand means go away. And the okay gesture in the American culture is symbol for money in Japan. Yeah, so it is different meaning for okay gesture for American symbol. And then facial expression like smiling may refer to affections, convey politeness, or disguise true feelings. And the frowning your face may signify disgust, and raising eyebrow can refer to shock or disbelief, and winking an eye may express there is something secret. And eye contact shows that we pay attention to the speaker, but in other culture, it considers rude to stare at other people, especially strangers. That's like what you said before. Okay. Is there any specific gesture to show the nonverbal communications in your country and also in China?
Okay, it seems like every gesture here is the same thing as back in my country. The nodding. Here it's kind of here they have this thing. I don't know, like they blink. I don't know what it means, but they like blink a lot when they're trying to get rid of you. So it's a bit like I don't understand that because it's like back home when you like blink a lot, it's probably like, oh, maybe something got in your eye or something. But then here it's like a thing of like chasing you away. That's the difference between my country. And also like hand gestures, okay. They really do hand gestures here. I've seen the waving of hands, something like this, which means yeah, go away. That one I've seen. The okay, they just say okay. And then facial expressions like smiling. Um, they do like the older generation tends to like avoid us, but I've seen like our generation here when they see us, they like smile and they're happy to see us. Frowning here is like a normal thing. I've seen a lot of people are always angry for whatever reason. And then eye contact as in a way of paying attention. That one differs because most of the time here, it's not because they actually like are looking at you as in a way to disrespect you, but they're looking at you as in shock of this is my first time seeing a person of color right here. So I don't know how to act. So majority of the time they just take pictures. But yeah, they take pictures and whatnot. But yeah.
Okay, and there are two more here. Okay, I didn't see it.
Keeping
Okay, keeping distant an arm's length in social conversation. So you, as people, don't like to be, they like to stand very close if they have conversation. They have to stand an arm's length in social conversation. While we are in Indonesia, we will keep our distance very close to our to our opponents or our opposite speakers, so they can see what they can hear what we say okay. And also bowing, just like you know that Asian people used to bow a lot so
Yes.
it means showing our respect. Also in Japanese and also Indonesia here also we bow a lot to show our respect. But Americans usually take a bow only after performance on the stage. I think Chinese also bow a lot, yeah. Bow.
Yes.
I don't know about
Yes.
Africa.
Yes. Personal space here is not a thing. They do not keep distance. Like, they don't understand that they want to be like around you, especially if, like I did say, that if you're a person of color. And then bowing is just like a thank you gesture. I've seen some Chinese do it. Yes, Japanese do that a lot. But back home, they don't do that. Bowing is a form of respect. Most of the time, back home, if you find yourself having to bow, it means that an elderly person of power has walked in the room. But other than that, there's no reason to bow.
Okay. Okay. I think now we go to the question and answer session. Okay, wants to be the first speaker, maybe Saimatus Saada Eza.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is your question, Saimatus?
Maybe I want to ask, are Chinese people very sensitive to the touch of other people or strangers?
Not really. The older people are a bit more conservative compared to the young generation. But however, if they were a bit sensitive to, touching and whatnot, it would also have to apply to them when it comes to us. But then it seems like they're very touchy. Like whenever they see, like I did say, a person of color, they want to touch us. They want to see if we are real people, so they are not really sensitive to all of that. Maybe the older people, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Eza. Do you still have another question, Eza?
Maybe one more question.
Okay.
Do you have difficulty socializing in there? Maybe have you ever isolated in there from your friends? Maybe?
Yes, there are quite difficulties with living here. Language barrier being the most problematic one, and also with friends. Yeah, like once you get here, you make friends, you lose friends. It's a whole world on its own. The whole experience is all about learning. So you make friends, you lose friends, because now you meet people from different cultures, and we are all not raised the same. We're raised differently. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to be part of that or not. Yeah, it's a choice.
Okay, Eza, do you still have another questions?
No, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Eza. And now we go to Rifki. Is Rifki here? Rifki. Okay, Rifki is not responding. Okay, we go to Nafa first. Nafa.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. What is your question, Nafa?
Okay. It's okay to use non-verbal communication to the older generation.
In what country? In Africa, in Zimbabwe, South Africa, or in China?
In
The
Africa.
three of them, all of them, or all of them? Okay. How about using non-verbal communication just like gesture for older generation? Is it okay?
Non-verbal communication, you cannot use it with the elderly. That one is for your friends. Our culture deems it as disrespectful. you have to be very you have to articulate exactly what you want to say. So you have to be verbal with the elderly, may it be parents, may it be your grandmothers, your grandfathers, the older generation. You have to be verbal. Gestures are for your friends. That is what we were taught, that gestures are for your friends. So they are quite disrespectful to the elderly.
And it also happens in China also, Troy? How about in China?
Yeah,
Do they use non-verbal communication?
yes, here there is a lot of non-verbal communication, but also I do believe that it's because they tend to avoid to communicate because, you know, they tend to look like, oh, maybe he does not understand Chinese, so they kind of like have to like be very, you know, have to show these gestures so that maybe you'd understand. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Nafa, do you still have another questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Nafa. Okay, now we go to, okay, Rifki is still here. Okay, Rifki is here, I think. Okay, Rifki, what is your questions? Unmute yourself first, Rifki. Rifki, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is your question, Rifki?
What do we need to pay attention to when we go to another country that has a different culture?
Okay. Before you went to China, what did you prepare? Okay. In terms of cultural difference, yeah, diverse culture and so on.
One thing I did prepare for was to be very open. I needed to be very, very open to and to accept that just because I was like in that cultural dynamic does not mean I have to bring it with me because we are all raised differently, like I did say. So I was prepared with that. And language wise too, I think, you know, having to understand that there's going to be a lot of like barriers when it comes to communication. One thing though that I'd say that I did not prepare for were the fireworks. That's one thing I did not prepare for because on a daily base, it's more of like a noisy community, if I'm being honest. So that's one thing I had not prepared for, but other than that, everything is fine.
Sorry. Okay, Rifki, do you still have another questions?
I think enough, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Rifki. Now we go to another. Yeah, Alfiani.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your question?
How to resolve misunderstanding or conflict in China's conversation?
Okay.
Can you please
Okay, do you get the
can she
question?
please repeat that?
Sorry? Do you get the
Can she
question?
please repeat that? No, I didn't get it.
Yeah. Okay. Alfiani, please repeat your question, Alfiani.
How to resolve misunderstanding or conflict in China's conversation?
Okay, have you ever experienced miscommunication on conflict in Chinese conversation, and how do you solve that?
Okay. I have never experienced any miscommunication or conflict here. But I've seen how they solve it. China is it's very strict with national embarrassment. They prefer, majority of them do not like embarrassment. So they solve it in a way where each one of them has to keep their dignity. So they are very polite with it, and then each one goes back with their dignity.
Okay, did you get any course of Chinese course? Yeah, I mean Chinese language course before going to China, or how did you learn Chinese?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. but because it was online, I didn't quite understand a lot. So, but now that I'm here, I'm kind of like having to relearn everything, and try and understand exactly, and pick up on some words, communication-wise. Yeah.
Okay, how long did you learn Chinese language before you go to China?
For about, it was what, 4 months. It was 4 months. 4 months. Yeah.
Okay, Alfiani, do you still have another questions?
Nothing, ma'am.
Okay, now we go to the other student. Okay, Nadif is here. Nadif, can you hear me? Nadif is not responding. Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
okay, Nadif, yes. Okay, what's your question, Nadif?
What obstacles might be encountered in nonverbal communication in China?
Okay.
Okay. What obstacles may be encountered in nonverbal communication in China? I think different gestures, like there are certain gestures that may not seem like an insult in like right here in China, but in my country it's an insult, like pointing at someone. That is very, very rude in my country. You're not supposed to point at people. You need to address them properly. And then here they just point. So I feel like that is one of the most like one conflict I've faced. But other than that, yeah, it's been okay.
Okay, how about the intonation? I think Chinese language have very different intonation have different meaning. How about that?
How about the
Intonation in China, maybe same. I think there are the similar words and different intonation can be different meanings in China.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is true. But I haven't met any Indonesian here, as to say I have not met any, but we have them at our school, but I have not met any of them, and I hope I meet them once the semester starts.
Okay, okay. Nadif, do you still have another question, Nadif?
That's enough, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadif. The next questions, Harisma Yuli Noviana. Are you here, Harisma? Novi?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is your question, Novi?
Is there a difference in communication styles between the younger and older generation in China?
And in China, okay. Is there any different style in communication between the younger and the older generation?
Yes, there is a lot. The younger generation tends to be much more expressive and very light-hearted about it. Yet the older generation is very conservative. They kind of like I did say that they are like to themselves. You don't really see them say much compared to the younger generation, where like they're very expressive of themselves, and yeah.
How about in your country, either in Zimbabwe or in South Africa? Is there any different style in communication also?
Well, okay, when I was growing up, there was a way to talk to to like adults and the way to act in front of adults. But then now it seems like the generation that's coming after me, they don't care. They're just expressing, like the parents of today are also, they've accepted that, oh, these kids are very expressive. So it doesn't make any difference. It makes no difference anymore. Yeah.
Okay, Novi, do you still have another questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Novi. Now we go to the next questions from Dian. Okay, Dian.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. What is your question, Dian?
Okay. Here I will ask, when communicating with different cultural background, no will always run smoothly. how to overcome barriers in intercultural communication, and what are the tips for carrying out intercultural communication?
Do you get the questions, Troy?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay, how to overcome them? Like I did say, you need to be very open. You need to be very open and willing to learn people's cultures. We are, like I did say, we all have different belief systems, different ways of thinking and whatnot. So the best thing you need to do is to be open. And once you are open, you have overcome everything else that happens. If you enter a country, like a new country or a place where they are of a different culture, and you come in with a narrow mind, you will not learn anything. So the best thing to do is to be very open-minded and learn how they act, what they consider to be religious, what they consider to be respect or whatever. So you have to be very, very open to everything, to the culture, and acceptive. You need to accept that, okay, I'm here, so let me accept this.
Okay, well, Roy, how long have you been in China actually? Troy?
So far, I've been here. Okay, I've been here for about 4 months. I haven't been here for a very long time. Yeah.
Oh, only 4 months. Oh,
Yeah, just 4 months.
Just 4 months. So you just came to China for 4 months. And have you ever experienced cultural shocks at the first time you were there?
I wouldn't say cultural, but then a lot of teenagers here do smoke a lot. In my country, it's frowned upon, but then here, high school students, you find that they're smoking. Even in our university, they're smoking. So, it was quite shocking. Like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. And then just them not having to have seen, like, it depends on which city you are in. Majority of them never got the access to see Black people. So when they see them, it's like they've seen these beautiful structures. So they start taking pictures and they come around you, like a lot of them. You're basically a celebrity. So it was kind of like a culture shock to that. Like I was like, oh, okay, this is new. This is very, very new. But with time, you just get used to it.
I think that's Asian things, yeah. Also, people in Indonesia are also very excited when we meet strangers or foreigners comes to Indonesia, and we try to say hello to them, and we try to take pictures, and they become the celebrities. Okay, so so it happens to you also.
Yes.
Okay, Dian, do you still have another question, Dian?
No, ma'am, enough.
Okay, thank you, Dian. Okay, is there any more questions? Oh, I think Putri, Dwi Putri Rahmawati. Putri, are you here, Putri? Putri is not responding. I think we can go to Siswi first. Siswi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, what is your question?
In verbal communication, what the challenge arise?
Okay, the challenge arise in verbal communication in which country, Siswi?
Can you please come again?
Okay, can you repeat your question, Siswi?
Yes. What challenge arise in verbal communication in China?
Yeah, what challenge arises in verbal communication in China? Okay, I think that's what. Yes.
Oh, what are the challenges?
Arise in verbal communication. I think that's what the question. Is that what you mean?
I think with like I did say, if you don't understand, like if you can't speak like just a little Chinese, communication wise, it's a bit complicated because majority of like the older and adult people don't quite understand English. So you have to speak in Chinese for them to understand. So if you don't have like Chinese literacy just a bit, there's a lot that goes on. You get lost in communication. So you find that you might buy, like for instance, maybe you want to buy something and it has to be delivered to your front door, maybe takeout. You cannot tell them that if you cannot speak Chinese. So that's another thing. So it forces you to go to the restaurant to buy and then come back upstairs. So that's a problem too. Like, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions is really
Enough, ma'am.
I think there is one more question from Vicky Mawati, and she wrote it in inbox. You can check it, Troy. She cannot speak because the connection she has poor connection. So the question is, in Chinese, is there a difference in the use of body language between formal and informal communications? Can you check your
Yes, there is. There is very for instance, there are people that are very strict with etiquette. Like in office areas and office spaces, there's a way you must sit, there's a posture you must have to show that to show that you respectful of everything. Like even when you speak to certain adults or of higher power, there's a certain way you must sit when you're speaking to people with power. And then when it's just like a friendly gathering, it's not really forced upon you. You can do whatever you want, but they have different etiquettes. There's a way you must sit, like in a meeting, you sit up straight and your hands should be on the table. And then when you go out with your friends to eat, your hands shouldn't be on the table. They should be like Anna. When you serve, adults come first and then the kids, compared to like just being friends. As friends, you just take, you don't even wait. But it's respect. It's all about forms of respect. The ones you respect, you serve them first and then you serve yourself.
Okay. Is there any more questions from the other students, like Rizky, Fikri, and also Fajar, maybe? One more question, maybe Rizky, Fikri, or maybe Fajar. Or maybe the other questions from the other students. Okay. If you don't have any more questions, maybe wait. Okay, one more question, please. One more questions. Rizky, Fikri, come on.
Me, ma'am.
Okay, so Eza again. Okay.
Maybe do you have any new habits in your life after studying in Chinese? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do. I've quite picked up on a lot of habits, in fact. One of them being like very I've become very much of a hard worker. Like I tend to choose to stay up over sleep. And then I find myself like going out a lot now. I go out a lot. I've become more of a social butterfly, if I'm being honest. I've become a very social butterfly compared to at home where like I couldn't really do that. Now here, I became like an extrovert, yeah, social butterfly. I've learned how to skate. Seeing snow for the first time was a big experience for me. So I got to build a snowman too. So I was like, oh, this is nice. And you know, I think also just having to be one with self. I've found a lot of peace here, like a lot of peace.
Okay, Eza?
Yeah, enough,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay, thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
how about the food there, Troy? Do you have any difficulties in
Favorites?
adapting in food, huh?
I
What
love
food in China?
I love the noodles, and there's this steamed buns. They call them baozi, like with meat inside, pork meat. Yeah, I really love those. I really love those.
And also, do you get used to eat with the chopstick now instead of by using spoon?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. I had to learn because majority of the restaurants don't offer forks or spoons. It's chopsticks, so you're forced to learn.
Okay. Okay. Is there? Okay. Do you still have another question, guys? Sudah nggak ada? Nggak ada lagi? Okay. Okay, enough. Okay. If you don't have any more questions, maybe we can close this meeting. Yeah, we can end this meeting. And before we end this meeting, okay, maybe we take picture first with Troy. Okay, everyone, please turn on your camera so we can take picture together. Okay, anyone, please? Okay, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's students, only 8 students. Where are the others? Nadif, Nadif, turn on your camera. Okay, okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, smile, everyone. Okay, once again. Oh my God, semuanya kok berkurang lagi nih, kameranya kok berkurang lagi. Okay, everyone please. Okay, everyone please smile ya. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Troy. I think that's all for today. Yeah, okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you for your time and coming here, joining us, and sharing about your opinion. Sorry, about your experience living in China, from Africa, from South Africa. Yeah, okay, and hopefully we can see you again in another opportunity. Okay, see you next time, Troy. Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, everyone, please say thank you. Say thank you and see.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.